Hey guys, this is Princess here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the next LD and Burst featured for December. So the first character who's getting her LD and Burst is going to be Final Fantasy XIII's Lightning. So this is her LD weapon. I know it looks ugly. It's called the Razor Carbine, and it grants her the skill Crushing Blow. So this will cancel the break status on enemies, so it will re-break them. It then follows up with a 4-hit AoE Thunder Melee Brave single target HP attack delivered twice. It deals more damage on single targets, and it has a 150% max Brave overflow. It lowers the target's thunder resistance for 4 turns, and it grants Lightning the Savior of Souls effect for 7 turns. So for the next 2 turns, Lightning gets 2 free turns after using her LD, and the Savior of Souls effect will raise Lightning's HP damage Brave Overflow limit, and the party will also be granted with Brave Regen, and now they can deal more damage on single targets. Moving on to the LD passives, at 1 out of 3 you get Crushing Blow Power, which will raise Brave damage. At 2 out of 3 you get Savior of Souls Longer, which will extend her Savior of Souls effect for 7 turns. And then at 3 out of 3 you get Crushing Blow Charge, which adds another use to her LD. And each time you limit break this, it will raise Lightning's attack. So next up we have the burst weapon, which is called the Durandal, and this will grant her the finishing burst called Gestalt Drive. It's a 10-hit Thunder Melee Brave HP attack that's delivered twice. The burst effect is 10 turns, and it is party-wide, so far it's the best, the longest burst effect that we have so far. It raises the Brave damage and Brave overflow limit. It also raises the Brave and HP damage dealt if you break a target or if you attack a broken target, and also raises the max Brave damage limit. Just keep in mind that the same character's burst effects don't stack. So to celebrate Lightning's LD and Burst coming out, there is going to be a raid event, which I believe is currently happening right now in Global. The synergy characters include Lightning, Vincent, Edge, Penelo, Raijin, and Zack. So keep in mind these first 2 banners will feature her LD, and then her Burst weapon is also on here, but will be featured on later banners. As for the next 2 banners that we have, so her Burst will also be available on Comlanot's banner, which will also have his LD. And then the last time it will be available is going to be on Reno's banner. So the next character to get their LD and Burst is going to be Final Fantasy VII's Sephiroth, everyone's favorite one-winged angel. So this is his LD weapon. It's called the Cetra Blade, and this will grant him the skill Scintilla. It's a 5-hit AoE melee brave HP attack delivered twice. It deals split damage, but it does deal more damage on single targets. It has a 120% max brave overflow, and it will inflict this debuff called Cellular Degeneration on all targets for 4 turns. And what this debuff does is it will sap Brave, and also raises Brave damage that the enemies take. Going over to the LD passives, at 1 out of 3 you get Scintilla Power++, so this will just change Sephiroth's Brave and HP attack into Brave Attack++ and HP Attack++. So Brave Double Plus is just now 6 Brave hits, and then HP Double Plus is now a 4-hit melee Brave HP attack with a 120% max Brave overflow. Then for 2 out of 3, you get Cellular Degeneration Longer, which will just extend his debuff by 4 turns. And then at 3 out of 3, you get Scintilla Charge, which will add 1 extra use to his LD. Each time you limit break this, it will raise Sephiroth's attack, and it raises the Brave Overflow limit. Next up we have his burst weapon, which is called the Second Coming, and this will grant him the finishing burst called Heaven's Light. It's a 15-hit AoE melee brave HP attack. It can deal more damage on single targets. The burst effect is 3 turns only. So what happens is after each turn, all enemies will have their Brave just drop down to 1, so you can just keep breaking them and you can just keep pushing them back as long as Sephiroth's burst effect is active. Just keep in mind though that same burst effects don't stack. So these are the banners that will be featuring Sephiroth's LD and Burst. It is going to be on a Heretics event, and the synergy characters included over here we have Galuf, Jecht, and Ignis on this banner, and then this one features Sephiroth, Saz, and Snow. As for the later banners, his burst will be available on Siren's Lost Chapter banner, which will also feature Siren's LD. And then the last time his burst will be available will be on Rude's event. Okay, so we're back in Opera Omnia JP. So here's my Lightning over here. I have her burst. I managed to get it on the Start Dash campaign. And I have her LD right over here. And then I do have Sephiroth's LD and burst, surprisingly. I wasn't really planning to get this, and then RNG just decided to be nice to me on the free polls, so here's his LD passive over here. I don't have his boards mastered though, but yeah. Alright, so I'm going to demonstrate with the LD first. We're going to do Crushing Blow. So now for 14 turns, she has the Savior of Souls effect on her. And now she's got 2 additional turns, and she does have some free skill uses as well. Like you can just keep going in, do Spark Strike, do Flourish of Steel, or just go in with the EX. Alright, so actually, you know what, we're gonna just go back in with Lightning first, because I do want to demonstrate her burst. Alright, so now for the big question. Should you pull for Lightning? I'm going to say yes. She is a lot better. She's become a much better turn-stealing queen, obviously, with her LD and Burst. Her LD will re-break enemies. She gets free turns and free skills out of it. The LD effect benefits Lightning and the party. Her Burst effect is 10 turns long, the longest that we've had so far, and it even benefits the party as well. So she's definitely more on the physical side, and she can deal a lot more damage now. Alright, so now we're going to demonstrate the finishing burst, which is Gestalt Drive. Man, that's cool. I love that burst animation. There's a lot of good ones out there, but hers is like one of my favorites. And yeah, you can see right there, it says that her burst effect is 10 turns long. Alright, so now I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to demonstrate Sephiroth. And just a bit of a disclaimer, I do want to mention that Sephiroth did get a rework when his LD and Burst came back, so that's something that Global is going to have to wait for in the next 7 months. Alright, so you probably already noticed that golden debuff there, but yes, that is from Sephiroth. It's the Cellular Degeneration debuff. So we're going to demonstrate with Scintilla first. Just like that. He does deal a lot more damage. I'm just going to do Brave Attacks with Lightning. Alright, so now we're going to go in with the Burst. By the way, the track that plays for Sephiroth's Burst is One Winged Angel, and I think there have been some copyright strikes for some content creators because the song was playing in the background, so just want to give a bit of warning there. So his rework, by the way, so like Fervent Blow is now, it does splash damage, and Octa Slash is like now more DPS on it. That's like the gist of from what I remember. So now for the question, should you pull for Sephiroth? I'm gonna say no, not right now. He does have a good burst effect, and his LD debuff is really nice too, but the problem is that Sephiroth doesn't have a rework, and he isn't getting one until like 7 months from now. So if you want to wait for his rework, it's best to wait for his LD and Burst to come back, and then you can pull for it there, which does also feature Warrior of Light and Paladin Cecil's LD and Burst. But like if Sephiroth is a favorite of yours, and if you just want to pull for him right now, then, you know, absolutely, go ahead. There's nothing wrong with pulling for favorites. So that covers up everything for Lightning and Sephiroth's LD and Burst. Thank you guys very much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know who you're going to be pulling for, and I will see you all next time.